Yo guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're playing Doom: The Dark Ages on PC, running with my overclocked MSI Vanguard RTX 5090 graphics card and Ryzen 9 9950X 3D CPU. So we are testing it with the new ray path tracing feature enabled, and let's go ahead and start off by showing you the graphics settings really quickly. So we are running a resolution of 3040 by 2160 on my 4K 144Hz display. Field of view is raised to 100%, chromatic aberration is turned off, film grain is turned off. We are running DLSS quality mode because this path tracing feature is very heavy, and frame generation is currently off. We'll test that a little bit later in the video. HDR is also enabled. We have to wait 2 or 3 days for that to process on YouTube. And we have the path tracing enabled along with DLSS ray reconstruction, ray trace shadows, all lights, ray trace transparency, and water reflections enabled. 4096 texture pool size, which is maxed out, and all the advanced graphics settings are all ultra nightmare. So I'm not going to get too in depth with testing out this path tracing mode. I just want to kind of test it briefly, and we'll probably also test out without path tracing to see how it runs, because I am now obviously on the 5090, and we'll see how everything performs in place, and we'll take things from there. But enjoy the show, guys. So we'll test out 4K DLSS quality mode, then we'll enable 2x multi-frame generation, and then we'll start lowering the resolutions, and then we'll experiment without path tracing. So I'm going to try to keep it kind of quick and short. I don't want to make the video too long because there's a lot of different settings to test, but we'll see how everything runs and plays. Enjoy, guys. Go ahead and reset the afterburner here. And I did notice that this game really does heat up the card significantly with this path tracing feature, so we are going to see a lot more heat generated with this overclock, so also wanted to mention that. I've got the polarizer now, which is a new weapon. It's pretty cool. And let's get started. That was pretty intense. Okay, so 4K with DLSS quality mode, we average 61 FPS, 1% low setting at 45, max FPS to 77. Very briefly, I'm going to turn on 2x frame gen. I'm not going to do anything beyond that, and we will see how that runs. Apply. Now, I'm not a big fan of frame generation, but I just want to see what it runs at with the path tracing feature enabled. Just going to very briefly test it out. What are we looking at here? Not sure. So 4K DLSS quality mode with frame gen, averaging 116 FPS, 1% low setting at 52, max FPS at 136. Okay, that's the only time I'm going to test out frame generation because, like I said, I'm not a huge fan of it personally. Just not my forte. And then let's lower down the resolution to 1440p here. apply. 1 moment for monitor to respond.
It's getting larger.
And then let's try disabling DLSS. We'll put out DLA. Just native 1440p. Reset the afterburner. And that seems to put us in the 70s. Just a little bit more playable. I'm a little bit rusty, guys, but I haven't played in a while. That time I took a break from gaming, I was a little bit rusty of stuff. I'll reset the afterburner.
I'll establish contact when we reach Eretum.
Okay, so 4K with DLSS. Actually, yeah, 4K. Or sorry, 1440p native, averaging 83 FPS, 1% lowest at 67, max FPS at 91. Now, very briefly, let's enable DLSS quality mode to see what it runs at. So, quality mode, apply, reset the afterburner. So 1440p with DLSS quality mode, averaging 108 FPS, 1% lowest thing at 88, max FPS at 147. Alright, well, let's go down to 1080p, which is not a very much so recommended resolution for the 5090, but just for the heck of it, we'll try it. We'll do native 1080p, apply, 1 moment for monitor to respond. Reset the afterburner. And again, 1080p is probably going to be bottlenecked. It's a lower resolution. Try to see where I'm going here. But anyways, average FPS at 110, 1% low thing at 93, max FPS at 161. Alright, now let's go back to 4K. And let's turn off this path tracing now. So we'll turn that off, which is I think how you should probably play it because it will run a whole lot better. So let's see, 4K native without path tracing, and we're all set. So we're going to reset the afterburner. And I'd say if you're on a 5090, just play it like this. And if you need to run DLSS quality mode, you can always do that as well. But ideally, for a game like this that's really fast-paced, I would say you would just turn off the path tracing. Even though it is a nice feature, it's just too heavy at the moment to run even on the top dog graphics card. So it's just too much. What can I say? So we're averaging 85 FPS, 1% low thing at 73, max FPS at 102. Alright, now let's Lower down to 1440p. Apply. Reset the afterburner. And again, I'm not going to go too in depth because it's a lot of different settings to test. But I just want to very briefly test out a few different resolutions here. The standard graphics, but without path tracing, just ray tracing. Ray tracing enabled. Not sure if I gotta time this or what. I'll have to figure that out a little bit later, I guess. And again, I haven't played the game in a while, so I'm a little bit rusty, if you will. Sometimes when you don't play these games, you forget some of the features and traversal areas. Can I climb that? Looks like I can, right? Guess not. Yeah, I don't know. A little bit stumped there. Oh, okay, I gotta throw my... There we go, I got it now. Little trial and error, but we got it.
Occult energy detected.
Damn, that was crazy. Brutal. Okay, so 1440p native, averaging 159 FPS, 1% low, so at 127. And then very briefly, just very quickly, I'm going to test out 1080p native. And then we'll go back to 4K and we'll test out DLSS quality, just very briefly to see how it runs. Just the ray tracing and no path tracing. But yeah, it just is so much more fluid without using the path tracing feature, I think. And this is the type of game that you want to be fast-paced, high performance. Alright, so 1080p, 1% low CI at 157, average FPS at 193, max FPS at 241. Alright, let's go back to 4K here. 1 moment for monitor to respond. And let's enable DLSS quality mode. Apply. Reset the afterburner. So I almost want to say ideally just do 4K DLSS quality mode if you're not going to use the path tracing feature. And you'll have well above 120 FPS here. Am I going down? Guess so. I hope so. And you can have nice, fluid FPS and good performance. So average of 144 FPS, 1% low CI at 113, max FPS at 184. And just very briefly before I finish out this video, I'm going to enable 2x frame generation, apply, reset the afterburner. Got the bullets, dead. Damn. Once we get loaded here, we'll reset the afterburner. I just think there's too much going on. It's hard to concentrate here. So much going on. Crazy. Alright, so 4K with DLSS call mode and frame gen, averaging 206 FPS, 1% low sleep at 90, and max FPS at 251. Man, this game is just something else sometimes. Really a lot to take on here. Alright, so we'll turn off frame gen. Go back to path tracing. Apply that. And I think that gives you a good look at Dune: The Dark Ages with all the different path tracing features enabled, along with just the ray tracing features. 4K, 1440p, and 1080p, along with frame generation and all the other DLSS quality mode features enabled. If you did enjoy the video, do give this video a like. If you want to see more content like this, more MSI Vanguard RTX 5090 gaming benchmarks, feel free to subscribe. Thanks for watching, appreciate all support. Stay tuned for more videos featuring this 5090, and I look forward to putting out the videos. See you guys around, and if you did enjoy the content, feel free to subscribe, and I'll see you guys around. Later guys, peace out.